You can join them too. 337-4330, Harbor Place, and welcome home.
This is WPSL Port Saint Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Very pleasant good morning. It's 11:07 at WPSL 1590. Talk of the Treasure Coast. And you're on Never Alone from Harbor Place. Katrina will be with us in just a bit. But right now, a very special guest is Medina Yasin. And Medina, a very pleasant good morning to you.
Great morning to you, sir.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you do now. You are a nurse practitioner, so for all intents and purposes, you're a doc.
No, we are nurse practitioners. We have a mobile geriatric practice. We see patients anywhere they live. Some of them happen to live at Harbor Place. Some may live at home with their families. So we take care of anyone at home that's unable to leave their home. We provide primary care services.
Well, that's great, and I think the whole concept of home care seems to be growing. And of course, obviously, I love the commercial for Harbor Place, because when you do get tired of doing all that stuff around the house, move in there, and they'll take care of it all for you.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about your practice itself, and how many nurse practitioners do you have?
Well, we serve actually the Hope Sound area all the way down to the Sebastian area. So our area is pretty vast. We are 100% referral based. Most of our referrals come from different facilities as well as our community partners. We currently have 2 nurse practitioners. We're actually seeking a third, specializing in psychiatric care. We have 3 phenomenal nurses that work with us. So that's our team. We see patients monthly in their home. We see patients if they're sick, if they call us, dial us up and say, hey, I have a headache. Hey, my mom has, urinary symptoms of a UTI, or my mom is not herself. We see them as needed as well, but we see them monthly for maintenance.
Wow, it sounds like a great idea. Well, I haven't been myself for years, but that's a whole different story. But seriously, okay, so is it normally monthly visits, or how is this all scheduled out for you?
So we have a nurse case manager that schedules patients daily. We try to be in all of our communities weekly, because we tend to see in rounding that patients have had issues over the weekend or different things that the staff forgot to report. And as soon as they see us, they say, oh, I remembered this. But we normally see patients, we try to schedule them within a 4 to 6 week rotation. We take insurance companies, of course, and insurance will pay for that monthly maintenance. We pride ourselves on seeing the patient monthly because we've seen, less fragmentation of care. Our goal is to keep our seniors at home happy and healthy. So if we're seeing them more often, we prevent rehab stays, we prevent hospitalizations, and that's everyone's goal for their senior.
And I know Katrina, she was talking about coming to Harbor Place as well, and seeing your residents, and I think that's wonderful. It's a great service.
It is.
Katrina, can you turn your mic on? Can we?
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I'm
all
so
right.
sorry.
That's
hey,
okay.
Medina.
Good morning.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? I
Well,
heard something about services in the community, and my ears definitely perked up when I heard Medina say we want to keep our seniors in their homes as long as possible.
yeah, well, that's
So
a,
I'm thinking she's meaning the assisted living homes or the independent living homes.
sure, all the above. I think it's wonderful that they actually come out and visit you guys that often. I think it's great.
I have to tell you, Greg, it really is. I don't know when the concept really started with nurse practitioners or physicians coming into the community setting, but certainly for our residents who typically, once they've moved in and settled in, it is difficult for them to start transitioning out of the community and going to doctor's appointments or to other things. And I tell you, we here at Harbor Place establish such a good relationship with the resident. Oftentimes they do. They'll go out, but they're quick to want to come back home. And so when we're talking about going out to doctor's appointments or other medical appointments, we found that the resident does so much better when they're still here in the community versus having to get out, get into the car and go into the doctor's office. And then from a communication perspective, right? We have the physician or the nurse practitioner right here, and we're establishing that relationship with them that should we need that prescription right away or there's a concern, literally they're at our phone call, right? They're right there, phone call away to be able to assist us. So it's a great thing. Like I said, I don't know who came up with the concept, but I love it.
Well, and it was very interesting. Dr. Timothy Moore was with us the other day from IRSC, and he was talking about doubling the nursing college at IRSC. And for the very first time, I probably shouldn't spoil a halftime show, but he also talked about the creation of a medical school, which is going to be truly amazing here on the Treasure Coast. So there's just so much happening, and there's such a shortage of both doctors and nurses.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It
Katrina,
certainly
to say to your point, as far as where did this concept come from? This concept has been, when our parents and grandparents was at home, the doctor came to them. So my patients are often reminded of their family doctor that came to them. So to be able to have your provider at your fingertips, to dial us up, we answer the phone and take care of every need that they may have, is exceptional. So we're taking it back to where it all started.
yeah, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal concept. And the thing with nurse practitioners too is that whether it is my regular general doctor or even my cardiologist, I haven't seen them in maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, but I've seen their nurse practitioners, and that's they are very efficient.
Yes, we are, certainly. My kids, even, I've been going to the same pediatrician for years. And one day they said, well, is it okay for you to see the nurse practitioner? And I said, absolutely. So the nurse practitioners that we partner up with, they're just as compassionate as I would be to take care of seniors. It's very important that we have providers available, but we want to make sure that we have compassion and the love of our seniors, because that's going to be the caveat to taking care of our aging population.
Well, Medina, the one thing you mentioned, which caught me a little off guard, was you're looking for a psychiatric nurse practitioner as well?
So what happens with the geriatric population is we actually take a holistic approach in taking care of the elderly. We can't take care of them medically. We can't take care of their congestive heart failure or their AFib or their hypertension without thinking about the psychosocial components. Most of our patients, Katrina, you can attest to this, our population, they have insomnia. They can't sleep. Some of them have depression. Some of them have anxiety. So we have an endocrine nurse practitioner because most of them have endocrine issues. They have issues with their thyroid. They have diabetes. So we wanted someone that specializes in that to take care of our seniors. And again, we do a great job of taking care of all of those psychosocial components, but we want an expert. So that's why we're looking for a nurse practitioner that specializes in psych.
Boy, are they very common, or is that something really unique?
The programs are growing, and I actually am in touch with one that's going to be great for our company. We're just ironing out the kinks. So the specialties run from, pulmonologists, cardiology, nurse practitioners. They're all exceeding, they're doing well, and they're, making a huge impact in healthcare.
Wow. So there's what, 5 or 6 of you, and you're covering the whole Treasure Coast. If you're talking Hope Sound of the South to Sebastian of the North, that's the entire Treasure Coast. You got 75 miles of coastline.
Yes, we're very strategic in our approach.
Yeah, you'd have to be. Wow. And of course, Harbor Place is dead center of where you go.
Harbor Place is one of my favorite facilities. I tell people all the time, Katrina knows I refer patients that are just, they need that socialization, or they're at a crossroads where they just need additional care. So that's one of the places that I refer to because, again, the heart component of taking care of our seniors is, one of my top 10, and they definitely display that with their staff. So I only want to partner with people that are really invested, just as we are invested in the care of our seniors. So Harbor Place definitely reigns in that category. So we're so happy to be a part of, the campus, and we round there twice weekly on our residents.
Well, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Katrina, I do have to ask you about the open house. I heard it went along famously. Again, I was not there because I had a basketball game to do, so I missed out on all the food again.
Yeah, so that was a nice event that we had. Probably about 20 of our prospective residents came out to see the community, and as well as to enjoy some heart healthy snacks, appetizers, and actually some cocktails as well. So it was great. And I will tell you, just a shameless plug for WPSL, we had 2 that came because they heard the radio show Never Alone. So great work, Greg, that you're doing here in the community and keeping everyone informed.
Well, great work that you're doing. I mean, it's quite obvious that something good is really happening in Harbor Place. That's really neat. And and as soon as basketball season is over, I will definitely be heading your way for some of these functions because it's really important. And I know Medina just mentioned something that I know you and your recreation person was mentioning a couple weeks back, the word socialization. And that's what you have at Harbor Place.
Yeah. Well, certainly it's one of the priorities for us, right? So not only making sure that they get the socialization, but with partnering with folks like Medina and some of our other healthcare providers, really being able to bring those services to them. So one of the main, things for us here is to make sure that we are a wealth of resources, right? So that once the resident moves in or the family is having a little bit of trouble, that we actually have healthcare partners that we can strategize with, conversate with as to what is the best care possible for the resident. And that's what Medina and her staff do. And I'm happy, Medina, to hear that you are even adding some additional components to the team. So, which is great for us here at Harbor Place, certainly for us to be able to, part of our whole marketing strategy is to make sure that we're getting everything from the social to the medical to the spiritual, to the culture, being able to offer all of that in one place and in one setting.
Well, I think the fact that you have, if you want to call it, a true home setting, it is their home.
Yeah.
And so that's so important.
Absolutely. Hey, Medina, I did have a question. So back in, I don't know, some time back, now, do you have to work under a doctor at all, or are you licensed to just be out on your own? I know you have your practice, but do you operate under a physician at all?
So that's a great question. I want to say during COVID, they started nurse practitioners in the state of Florida. We were able to apply for independent practice. Of course, you had to have a certain amount of hours that you had to work before you even apply for it. So we are an independent practice. I only keep a physician on retainer because if I have a new nurse practitioner that does not have those additional hours, he will oversee them. However, the two nurse practitioners that we currently have, we are independent, which I am really happy about. We have great nurse practitioners that we partner with. If we have any questions, anything that we need to discuss, this is a team approach. Anything that we're doing with our patients, we want to make sure that we're offering excellent, astute care. So it goes with collaboration, but our practice is totally independent.
Sure, which is great. Yeah. Because I know that sometimes there is this stigma, right? Especially maybe in the population that we serve, right? Having to overcome that, well, you're not a doctor, you're the nurse practitioner. I want to see the doctor, right? I mean, even in my own little young self, I'm oftentimes caught up in the whole tradition of the doctor. But we've learned quickly that oftentimes it's the nurse practitioner that does all of the work, and most times that's who we see, and hey, it's like seeing the doctor. So
Well, and it's a time factor too, because I know when I see my nurse practitioners, they spend a lot more time with me than the doctors do. And that's
well, for us is we love our physicians, the medical community. We would not be where we are without great doctors. I've been under the tutelage of wonderful doctors. However, with our population being the way it is and the amount of people that we have as providers in the community, our resources are limited. Right now, we're short on everything. If you wanted to go out and get an endocrine provider, the wait list for that is 3 to 6 months. If you want to get a psychiatric provider, it's 3 to 6 months. So if we can duplicate services with other providers, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, as well as physicians, then we could, again, make that impact on healthcare. As far as us, we see the stigma quite often. We have a lot of patients. So one of my nurses, she'll do the welcome call. And the first question sometimes is, well, what doctor does she work for? So we are very actionable. So our patients don't access that once they get to know us and once we build a rapport, because it's all about relationships. So if I trust you, if I know you have my best interests at heart, we don't have any more discussions of that. So we've been in practice for over 5 years, and we're like a family with our patients. So again, all the trust and the rapport, that's all built upon, just years and just actions.
Do you find that ones that are a little younger, of course, I'll be 78, that they might if you want to say, open the door a little bit easier to your practices than some of the older that I just want to see a doctor?
Well, we're getting a variety. So what's happening is the patients that we're actually getting, they're tired of, whoever's office it is, whether it's another nurse practitioner, whether it's a physician, they're tired of not being answered. As a consumer, right? If I call my physician's office or my nurse practitioner's office, they want someone to answer the phone. So we pride ourselves on that. So we're not as large as we could be. I scaled back because, again, we want to be able to offer concierge without the price, right? Because we take insurances. We don't take money, right? We only bill insurances. So we want to offer concierge personable care. So with that, we want to be able to answer the phone. We want to be able to call the families. Katrina knows if we have a new patient at Harbor Place, the families will know who we are because we're calling for that consent. We're calling to introduce ourselves. And we're referral based. So we have patients that refer, community partners that refer. So we're not really seeing that many barriers. Again, a patient may be a little apprehensive on the first visit, but again, once we come in and we tell them we bring the lab to you, we do x-rays at home, we do ultrasounds at home. You can call us anytime. We have we have certain capabilities. They're sold because, again, who else? My mom in Virginia, she can't get a hold of her provider. So what do I tell my mom in Virginia? Time to get a new provider. So that's what a lot of our patients are looking for. They want that reassurance.
Katrina, do you run into that a lot? I mean, I just think your service sounds absolutely amazing.
Well,
Thank
so
you.
again, part of the thing for us again is that we don't just see the resident or the new resident moving in as just, hey, they're coming to, eat and they're coming to have fun in terms of activities and the lifestyle or transportation, but we're looking at the whole picture, right? How are we servicing them, not just on, the apartment and then the meals and lifestyle, but then from a physical, what is it that we're doing? What do we have here to offer? So like Medina, when they first come in, we're already saying, hey, we have nurse practitioner that comes into the community, and these are the services that they provide. Most families love that because then now they know that mom or dad don't have to necessarily be going out to the doctor's office, sitting there. Their time is just as limited at, sometimes that they can't go with mom or dad to be at the office to hear what the physician or the nurse practitioner is saying. So they're more apt to say, hey, let's use who you have coming in, which is Medina. That way, when Medina's done her rounds and she has notes or new orders, they come directly to us. And then it takes out that whole middleman kind of thing, right? So, and it's fast, it's quick. I mean, even Medina has access to the pharmacy that we use, that she can call those orders directly into the pharmacy. So when you start talking about time, right? And being aware of how quickly can we move to make sure that the resident gets the best care possible as soon as possible, it works. That's why we got Medina here. That's why I'm happy to be able to partner with her. And certainly the things that she does in the community, I know she'll talk a little bit about that, but the things that she does in the community to give back is phenomenal as well.
Yeah, Medina, your thoughts.
Well, as Katrina said, this is just not a business for us. We take a personal approach to everything. So we want everyone to feel reassured. The holistic approach is, it's processes. So again, how did they end up at Harbor Place? It could be a variety of reasons. Remember, Florida is one of the, highest transplanted places, right? So we have people from, up north, we have people from Canada, we have people from the Midwest. They come up here with their spouses, right? The spouse might pass away. The neighbors will pass away. The children might be out of town. So there's no one to take mom or dad to the doctor. So again, with us utilizing our community resources, the first thing we do is, of course, labs to get a baseline if we don't have one. But the second thing we do is to bring those community resources in, to bring in physical therapy if they need it, to bring in the nurse, to bring in the podiatrist if we need to. So just the access, the accessibility, enable people that don't have transportation to bring all of that to their doorstep is monumental.
Now, Medina, can you actually do like blood tests and stuff like that?
We order labs. We partner with the lab company. If I see a patient on a Tuesday, my goal is to get them out Wednesday, the lab to be out Wednesday, Thursday. As Katrina said, we do electronic, we send all our medications to whatever pharmacy that they belong to. My biggest thing is fragmentation. We don't want it. If someone has a pneumonia, if I did a chest x-ray and someone has a pneumonia, I want that medication at the building the next day, because that's going to determine whether or not we have a hospitalization versus if the patient stays at home happy and healthy. So we're very big on that, very proactive on just making sure that everything aligns to making sure that the patient is happy and healthy at home.
Well, Medina, how do folks get in touch with you? I know we're about halfway through the show now. How do they get in touch with you at My Solutions?
Well, our website is MedinaYasinSolutions.com. Feel free to look us up, take a look at everything we're doing. As Katrina said, we do a lot for the community. We serve, our seniors, of course. We serve foster families. We serve the different schools. We take nurse practitioner students. We make sure that we're training nurse practitioner students accordingly. We make sure that we're training and implementing with nurses. So we partner with a bunch of community resources just to make sure that, we're making our mark that way. Because again, we're beyond a business. We want to make sure that we make our mark in the community as well. Our telephone number, if anyone needs to call us, is 1-866-670-0130, and that's extension 113.
Well, that sounds great. And, I think, Katrina, as we're midway through here, events at Harbor Place. So what have you got going? March is going to be, I presume, very your February was all very busy.
Yeah, so we're still just trying to pull together some of the events. More of them this month for the month of March are geared more towards our professional networking. So we are hosting a couple of network events here at the community. So being able to share some time with some of our professionals that we know out in the local market here. But of course, St. Patrick's Day is coming on Friday, March 17th. So we plan to have a grand celebration here. I believe that is starting at 2:00 and go until about 3:30. So if anyone is interested in attending that event, they can just give us a call here at the community. The number is 772-337-4330. And so, but yeah, those most of our events this month, though, Greg, are really targeting our healthcare partners. So
I've got an idea for you with the swimming pool.
Sure.
The city of Chicago does that, the Green River routine. Yeah, you could do that in the pool for St. Patty's Day.
We'll probably just stick with the green beer, but okay.
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't say anything about that. Oh, yes.
But we plan to have a grand old time with that. And so if there is anyone interested, please give us a call. we'd love to have you and host you.
And the bistro again. What are the hours for the bistro?
So the bistro we have temporarily closed right now. So just trying to work on some issues going on with that. So as soon as that's open again, Greg, I will share the hours and we plan to have a grand opening as well. So
Well, that sounds good. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm counting the hours for that.
Okay. All righty.
Okay. That sounds great. That sounds great. And Medina, what are your plans for this upcoming month in the community?
While in the community this month, we're just trying to make sure that we get all of our new providers onboarded and making sure that we can get those services going. Again, we round at every building that we service weekly, and we get a lot of emails and phone calls. Are you accepting new patients? We are always accepting new patients. And I want to give a corrected number. My number is 866-670-0237, extension 113. So we are always ready to partner with any community that needs any additional services. I was actually thinking, Katrina, if we could maybe do like a Mother's Day and a Father's Day with you guys. I think that would be wonderful.
Oh,
Even if
absolutely.
you don't have parents, many of our seniors, you have parented many. So we would love to do something for you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about that. Yeah, I'm excited. Yes. Excited.
Actually, we partnered with another group and we fed over how many seniors, Katrina, for Thanksgiving?
Oh my goodness. Over 110, I believe. Yeah, 110.
Wonderful events. So we brought our children served. It's really important for our young people. I was just at my kids' school this morning and I talked to them about we have to make sure that our giving campaign is a year long. So wherever we can lend a hand, wherever we can volunteer, bringing some of these young students in to help bring some vibrancy to our residents is always, a good idea. So anything you need from us, we'll be happy to help facilitate.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Katrina, as far as outside groups, civic groups, and you mentioned some networking things. Is that back room is available for outside groups?
Yep. So we have begun to kind of relax some of those COVID restrictions that were in place for the last 2 years. And so we are finding that more groups are coming. I guess that was one of the things here is Harbor Place was known for having spaces that various groups could come in and host their meeting or host a lunch. And so we've seen more of that happening within the community setting, those that are wanting to come in. So yes, absolutely. We have a number of spaces that any group or organization, if they wanted to have a meeting or host a luncheon or a breakfast here, please reach out to us because we can accommodate.
That sounds great. And the phone number at Harbor Place?
Sure, it is 772-337-4330. Please give us a call.
Yeah, so if you've got a civic group, feel free. Give Katrina a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Medina, I did have a question for you because I know oftentimes we get questions from some new residents coming in terms of insurances. Now, do you take a lot of insurance? I know, some of our healthcare partners are limited with the type of providers that they will be allowed to work with. So can you share just a little bit about, how that works with My Solutions?
So we take most insurances. We take Humana, we take Aetna, we take straight Medicare, of course. We take United Healthcare. We take most PPO groups, Freedom Health. The only thing we don't take is Care Plus. And I know there's one more that we don't take. So we also got a bunch of patients from Orlando when Katrina came over. Katrina, can you tell them a little bit of what happened with our residents with the hurricane?
Sure. So, amidst everything that was going on, I have to tell you, it was a little chaotic at first. And of course, making that transition from Orlando to Harbor Place with a 2-hour drive, there was some we could see, right? Cognitive decline. There was some confusion happening with the residents. And I have to tell you, Medina and her team, along with another home care agency, came in. And I tell you, Greg, I'd never seen angels in the mist, right? That's what they were. They were angels in the mist. And I tell you, they did assessments on each and every one of our residents. They got the labs going, as Medina says, that's one of the first things that they want to do. Medina, you guys worked countless hours here, but every resident was seen. Everyone had their medications back on track. It was, I'm telling you, I mean, I couldn't have dreamed it up. I couldn't have wrote the script. But really just the caring and the heart that was shown with Medina and her team, it was phenomenal. And families still talk to me today about that. Just the love and the care that they received once they were here, especially in a time that was very trying, a time that was very scary for many of our residents who had to make that transition.
Well, you think about that hurricane. I mean, it was a horrific experience that all of you guys in Orlando had to go through. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was. And so I thank God for his hand on us and for him knowing the plans that are best for all of us. And obviously, Medina was part of that plan, still is, and she's still helping us to care for our residents here at Harbor Place.
So I just wanted to preface. I wanted Katrina to actually preface what happened that week. So that week was definitely a God week because I totally was not supposed to be at Harbor Place. I got a phone call about, these residents coming over, and I went over and just helped out as anyone would have. But from some of those residents, of course, they became my residents. You guys asked me to see them. And I want to say about 5 of them do not have the insurance that I take. So we often will still see patients. We will still monitor them. We will still, maintain their medications. We will still see them if they don't have the insurance that I take. Because again, with certain of these insurances, no one will take it. So will the patient be without medical care? Absolutely not. So we take most insurances, and we do, if the patient's insurance is for whatever reason, there's no family to change the insurance, we will still take that resident on because everyone deserves great medical care.
All right, Medina, you mentioned the PPO. What about HMOs?
HMOs are very, very limited in who takes them. So we definitely encourage, most of our residents do have PPOs, but again, we do have some people that they just have an HMO. They don't have family members to just switch them out. We don't have representatives to switch them out. So we will take them if they don't have any other medical providers that we can partner them up with. But HMOs, typically, most providers do not take.
Yeah, and of course, you can't turn the television on without an HMO ad, and it is kind of sad because those companies do a lot of advertising, and it's not fair to the consumer if doctors and nurse practitioners like yourself can't take it.
Right. And what our seniors don't realize is some of those companies, they're promising you a $20 gift card to Target or to Dunkin', and they're jumping on that because it sounds appealing. And then when they get their plan, they no longer can get physical therapy. They no longer can have, the different providers that they've had. So fortunately enough, most of our seniors, they do have someone to help them navigate through those channels. But the patients that don't, that's who I feel bad for. And again, we do try to maintain, medical wellness for some of those patients. But the HMOs are something that most providers do not take.
Yeah, the sad reality of where we are, I guess. There's no doubt about it. And I know in our, 15 years of doing the Bone Talk show, those doctors lamented over the years about the same thing you've just said.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, wow. Well, Katrina, back to Harbor Place again, as far as your capacity, are you close, or how's that going on both sides of the aisle there?
Certainly here at Harbor Place, we are growing. But we still love to host those who may be seeking senior living. We're always here. We're always happy to have you come in and take a look at our community, learn a little bit more about our services and the amenities that we offer here, as well as to be able to share some of those healthcare partners such as Medina that we're working with. So don't hesitate. Like I said, we are a growing community and we still love to show off.
And getting back to the weather situation, as the hurricane season approaches, your building is hurricane ready. You've got Jenny's, you've got all sorts of the backups that you need to keep things going and stay in place, which
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're good. We're ready.
That's great. That's really, really good. Well, you mentioned March, St. Patty's Day. You had some special things going.
Yeah. So just again, more March is more of us, I guess, for lack of a better word, targeting some of our professional referrals out there. So quite a few networking events that we have for the month. And then, of course, celebrating St. Patrick's Day on March 17th from 2 to 3:30 in our meeting room.
Sounds good. And Medina, you going to be there?
I will do my best to be there for sure.
Sure. Got to have some of that green beer there. You know?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my. Oh, my. So, Medina, again, you cover the entire Treasure Coast with My Solutions.
Correct. We cover the entire Treasure Coast. And we are seeing patients. If we get a referral on a Monday, we are scheduling the patient within 24 to 48 hours. Again, we don't like delays. We try to prevent fragmentation. So time is the essence. Most of the calls we get, it's when patients are unable to get into a primary. People just move here. They go into the hospital for whatever reason or rehab. They give them names of providers to get scheduled with. And when they call, of course, it's a 3 to 6 month wait. So our community partners refer us, and we're getting that patient seen very timely because we know that time is of the essence.
Well, it's interesting you say that. You know, I've with my dentist, they schedule out almost a year. It's amazing, you know, and you know, I kid with them, and I've been going there a long time, and you think, my goodness, that's amazing.
Yes, it's very a true phenomenon. And what I do is we always, let's say we have patients that are just homebound for a certain period of time. Maybe they just have a fracture that they're recovering from. We always try to encourage them to stay with their primaries. Medicare will pay me to come and see them once a month. They can still go see their primary, who they only see twice a year. So we still always try to maintain those relationships, because I can't compare with someone that's been seeing you for 30, 40 years, right? That relationship has been, there from day one. So we always encourage them to still seek their primary care if they're able to get out. But ultimately, we do become primary care for most of our patients.
Okay, so getting back to the labs and stuff, so you don't actually do that. You've got a lab that you work with then that can come in and help.
Wonderful companies that we send our referrals over to. So we have a diagnostic company to do X-rays, EKGs, and ultrasounds, and we have a wonderful lab that we send our orders over. And if we see the patient this week, initiate care the following week, we'll be seeing them in their home, reviewing their labs line by line so they can understand how they're doing.
So if there is a person at Harbor Place, and you mentioned like X-ray and stuff like that, they have to go somewhere to get the X-ray, right? Or is it portable?
They come right to Harbor Place, wherever you live. The mobile X-ray, the mobile laboratory, they will be at their door. They call the night before to schedule.
Wow, so that's like electronics. Everything is so much smaller now that they can actually do that. I think that's amazing.
Yes, it is pretty amazing. And we work with K's Mobile Lab and PMD Diagnostic Company, and they are all phenomenal. We only partner with phenomenal groups because, again, we want to make sure that we align with people that have the same heart and have the same feelings towards preventing fragmentation. So we've been blessed with these two companies.
Well, Katrina, you've done an amazing job of partnering with Medina here, because it sounds like this is a perfect situation for you guys.
Yeah. And it's important because, there are a lot of companies that come in on a daily basis, wanting to provide service to our residents. And it really does, take a little bit of vetting. I mean, obviously, insurances play a large part of that. But then outside of that, it really is about, who are we, having the relationship, building the relationship, that they have the same interests as us. They have as Medina said, the same heart as us, right? That they're not just coming in and wanting to build Medicare or the insurance company. Obviously we're all in this, to seek some sort of profit, but the profit can't be before the care and the services of our residents. And so, again, I don't have all the say, but certainly, being able to establish a good relationship with a healthcare partner that comes in, that has the same interest, that has the same heart. I mean, it's a win-win for our resident and for their families, and then for us here at Harbor Place, right?
That's phenomenal. Well, how do folks look up Harbor Place on the web?
So they can go to, it is www.harborplace at portstlucie.com, or it's at psl.com.
Perfect. And the way this town is exploding population wise, and it's only going to continue. It's funny. I saw numbers, and it's now down to 18 years. They're now predicting Port Saint Lucie, just the city, will be around 725,000, which means we'd get another 500,000 people in here. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It certainly is a growing area, and we here at Harbor Place, for those who are seeking senior living options, would love to be able to host you and share many of the services and the amenities that we have to offer here.
That's a great idea. Great idea. And Medina, just last thoughts for you as well. How do folks get in touch with you?
Again, our website is Medina Yasin Solutions with an S.com. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. My Solutions NP is on Instagram. Facebook, it's Medina Yasin Solutions. Our telephone number is 866-670-0237, extension 113. And I also want to say I am one of many providers at Harbor Place. They do provide a variety of providers. So I'm one of many.
Okay. All right, Katrina. Again, final thought from you as to what's happening at Harbor Place.
I mean, again, we're growing, and certainly we always have things to offer, the various services and amenities. And so, again, anyone who wants to come in, take a tour, take a look at the community, join our growing family, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, 772-337-4330.
That sounds great. Well, ladies, have a wonderful, wonderful week. And Katrina, we'll be talking to you next week.
All right, next week. Thank
you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Appreciate you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Greg. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Never Alone from Harbor Place, right here on WPSL Global, WPSL 1590, Talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster of the world.